Hello everyone, this is Father Nestor Sanchez. I am a parochial vicar here in Holy Family Parish in Shorewood, and today I want to share with you my vocational story. I was born in Mexico in a little town close to Toluca, Estado de Mexico. I was born in a very Catholic family. My parents used to help in our church, in our local church. So I remember my first years when my parents going to mass, playing with my brothers and my sister. And one of my first memories is my grandma teaching me to pray. And I remember that prayer until today. When I was 5 years old, we moved to Mexico City to live there. And I began RE there in Mexico City. So I made my first communion at the age of 8 years old, if I remember good. So I remember also to be part of the choir of my local church. So those are my best memories in my childhood. But you know, sometimes when you don't keep that loving God in your heart, you are in danger to lose it. So when I grew up in my teen years, maybe when I was 13 years old, I began to question my faith. And of course, my parents were not well educated as we have today, many of our parents. So when I asked questions to my mom, so she only could say, just pray to God and He's gonna give you the answers. But we live in a world where you should question everything. And the world teaches you sometimes to go against God. So when I began high school, I joined to this kind of ideologies of atheism, communism, socialism. So I was a rebel, if I can say, in that way. So I left my faith. So I began to do many things that the world likes. So friends, Paris, alcohol. Thanks to God, not drugs, but I can say that I was far from God. And one ideology that I followed was that kind of spirituality that says that this reality is not real, that this is another dimension, that kind of stuff. So I read books about that. And also I liked this kind of music, reggae music, ska music. So I began to follow that kind of, not religion, but Rastafarism. So, but, in my heart, there was the desire of more. When you don't have God, the true God in your heart, you feel that emptiness. So I remember one group in this music, reggae music, one of his songs was about the people of Israel, Moses and Jeremiah. And the singer claims the help of God, saying that only in God he could find his rest, his peace. So for me it was a shock because I was following the opposite way. So I began to question, maybe I am wrong and God, Yahweh is the true God. So at that time I was in high school and my grades were not really good. So I was a little overwhelmed with this kind of ideologies, problems, So in December 205, in my local church, my mom was invited to receive 2 lay missionaries. These missionaries, there were no seminarians, they were not religious, just 2 lay missionaries. So they went to my home and began to work for December to the feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And in Mexico we have the traditions of Las Posadas. So in this time we used to do representations of the way of Joseph and Mary from Nazareth to Bethlehem. We call these pastorelas. So, and people represents sometimes in a funny way, sometimes in a serious way. So these missionaries began to do this kind of activities. So when I met him, they were not like any of their work was attractive for me. I was busy in my own stuff, but one thing that took my attention was that they were young, like me at that time, 20 years old, and that they looked very, very happy. So for me, it was a shock. So the first week, I didn't talk with them because I was at the school, but the next week, they invited me to be part of these representations, the pastorelas. So I didn't want to go, but my mom told me, you should go, you're gonna do it. And also they told me there are gonna be more people, girls, boys there, so you're gonna have fun. So I went, and because I was close to them, I could feel their love for God, and I could feel that their happiness was authentic. So in my heart began the desire to have the same happiness. So when the mission finished, at the end, they threw the invitation to the guys who were there to go to a vocational retreat, to be lay missionary. So they invited me, and the first time I said, no, thank you. I don't like to go. But maybe because, of course, God was working on me, but in my heart was, okay, these guys were very good people with me, so I want to pay back their kindness. So I decided to go to the retreat. The retreat were 2 days. So in this retreat, the first thing that I heard was that God calls us, all of us, to be holy. And until that time, I never had that question in my mind. May I be a saint? So during the retreat, through the Word of God and the preachers there always invited us. The world is not the solution for your problems. The world wants you always doing bad things. So in the second day, in the holy hour, I was in front of the Blessed Sacrament, but at that time I was not aware that it was Jesus who was there, that the presence of Jesus was there. But I could feel that in my heart too, and in my soul. And through the reflections, the preachers always was saying, don't be afraid. If God is calling you, just say yes. Don't be afraid. And every time I heard that preaching, I was saying, no, I don't want. This is not for me. I am only here to paying back the favor to these guys. But there was a moment when I say, okay, I'm gonna do it. If you want that, I'm gonna do it. I don't know what is this, but I want to do it. I'll do it. So at that moment, I feel like if chains were broke to my body, and I feel light. And I began to feel that happiness that I was seeing in these missionaries, lay missionaries. So after the retreat, I went to talk with a priest of the community, ask him, I want to be part of this community as missionary, lay missionary, not priest, not seminarian, not religious, just lay missionary. The deal was only 6 months of formation and then 1 year of mission. And after that, you can go back to your home. So I began my formation there. I was 6 months in the house of formation, and then I went to mission for 1 year. And I was in Mexico, some parts of Mexico, one of the towns where Veracruz, with indigenous communities. So seeing the love of these people for God, and seeing sometimes that they were poor, but that God was first in their lives, for me was a sign from God that He was calling me to the priesthood. So I finished my mission, and then I was also with doubts. I was afraid to do the next step, and I asked counsel in a good friend, a priest, and I told him, I think God is calling me to be priest. So he gave me good advice. He says, okay, if this is for you, God gonna show you the way. If this is not your vocation, God gonna show you too. So don't be afraid. Go straight, and God gonna show you the way. So I began my formation, philosophy, theology. Then for some reasons, I moved to the Diocese of Joliet, and now I am here. I was ordained in 2019. So, and this is my first parish assignment as a priest. So now I am here trying to fulfill the will of God in my life. All these years has been a challenge for me. First, to say yes to Jesus, and then to move to another country to learn a new language, to speak and preach in another language that it is not easy for me, but I am here, always trying to do the will of God. And that is my advice. If you are feeling the call of God, don't be afraid. If God is calling you, it is because you can do it. So, thank you for hearing me, and have a good day.